This is Inside the Locker Room, where football isn't just a game, it's a war zone. Every take, unfiltered. Every prediction, ruthless. From Sunday battles to primetime legends. We break down the matchups, the mind games, and the moments that define champions. Fantasy, film, trash talk, all inside the locker room. So if you came for smoke, you're in the fire now.
What is up inside the locker room? We are back with another episode 19, and in an already jam-packed week, this is our final day that we will be going live this week, and we got a lot to talk about. And to kick off the top of the hour, Terry McLaurin has just requested a trade. What is y'all's thoughts on that? You know, he was sitting out of training camp, mini camp, all that stuff for a new contract. And a lot of people, including me, thought Washington was going to get this done. You know, you have a rookie quarterback who just had an amazing season, and now you don't want to pay him. And in my eyes, that didn't make sense to me. But now we see Washington still have not met the agreement, or Washington and Terry McLaurin still have not came to an agreement on a contract. So it looks like he's requesting a trade. Benji, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like we just mentioned this. If it was just last week, even, saying that the Commanders would be kind of dumb not paying Terry McLaurin here, considering how long he's been on this Washington team. But it's interesting to see where he's going to land also, because, it's not really a holdout situation. It's, trade me. So, I think he's going to be seeking close to, north of $30 million per year, and definitely deserving of that. But, some teams, might not be able to pay that luxury, even needing a wide receiver two, or I think he's good enough to be a wide receiver one on some teams even. So we'll see how things go. But Michael, what do you think about this whole Scary Terry situation?
Honestly, I can't do nothing but shake my head, honestly, because Terry McLaurin doesn't deserve this mistreatment that he's getting from the Commanders. It's crazy how an organization or a GM or whatever says that, you're a huge asset to our team, but then when pay time comes in, they're holdouts. They're only one to give you a certain amount of money, like you're not a huge asset. And it's kind of no surprise to me, and it's just sad because Terry McLaurin does not deserve this. Yes, he was injury prone and stuff like that. He had an ankle injury to where the Commanders had to put him on the PUP list. But at the same time, Terry McLaurin was a huge asset for Jaden Daniels, and you don't sign him, and it's just like, what's the problem? And it's sad again to see this, but at the same time, it's no surprise. How many organizations have we seen do this to certain star players? They claim that they love them and that, oh yeah, we're gonna make sure you be here forever. Then when that time comes, they either get hurt or they get put on the injury reserve list or the PUP list, and it's just like, you're just a waste of time. And it's like a slap in the face. Like, these players are not respected as they so-called claim that they are respected. It's I'm so tired of owners doing that, and I need owners to stop doing that. Stop saying that, oh, we highly love these guys and stuff like that. We're gonna make sure that he comes, play for us forever. Then when it gets to a point where either he's injury prone or it's time to love these guys, and you don't want to give it to him. It kind of reminds me of the Trey Henderson situation.
And I mean, I agree with you, Michael. McLaurin has been, for a person that has dealt with so much inconsistency in the Washington Commanders franchise, you went through all these different quarterbacks, and a lot of players that have to go through that become unhappy, want out, or like immediately request a bigger contract, all that type of stuff. McLaurin, no, he stayed there. He stayed loyal, and his best season was with probably your best draft pick in the last 20 years. Jaden Daniels, who is already competing, with helping the Commanders compete for first place in the NFC East. So I mean, if I was the Commanders, hey, I feel like if you do end up trading him, you're losing a major asset because me being honestly, I don't think Debo can get it done. I don't think this is the same Debo we saw a few years ago with the 49ers. And yes, what you call it, Washington has other weapons, but your main weapon in Terry McLaurin, your wide receiver one, I just think if he is gone, his presence will be, or his presence miss will be felt. And honestly, if like three teams that just come off the board for me that I just would like to see McLaurin go to if they happen to trade him. One would be the Patriots. You know, the Patriots are always in need of another wide receiver. Uh, we were kind of talking about earlier on a other episode, Jawan Jennings and how he was requesting a
Mhm.
trade. And I said, hey, if he does end up getting traded, hey, New England always needs that another number two wide receiver. Yes, they have other receivers on the board, but it never hurts to help them get another veteran presence next to Stephon Diggs. Two, the Texans. Tank Dell is out, but yes, they do have Nico Collins. They do have the two receivers they drafted in this year's previous draft. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but hey, it don't hurt to have another, like I said, veteran presence on the team. And then the last one will probably be the Packers. Yes, they did just draft Matthew Golden, but hey, you have a player like Terry McLaurin on the opposite side, alongside already what you call it, Jaden Reed and all those other receivers that you already have on the roster. Hey, that makes the Packers more of a team to compete in the North. But Benji, you're
Uh, I low-key disagree with the Packers statement. I think Savon Williams is also going to be a great receiver for them in the future that they drafted this past draft. But some other teams that kind of light the light bulb for me with the scary Terry situations are teams like maybe the Las Vegas Raiders. That'd be a great addition for quarterback Geno Smith. And as much as I would love to, reunite the New York Buckeyes, I still think it's kind of possible. But I think $33 million a year potentially for Terry McLaurin would be a little bit too steep for the New York Jets here. But I'll throw another kind of sleeper team in this too. I won't say the Patriots as far as the AFC East goes. To be different here, I'll say maybe the Bills possibly. The Bills wide receiver room could use some help as well. Mari Cooper didn't really work out for them last season, so maybe they try to get another receiver in there to help out Josh Allen.
Yeah,
Michael.
I agree with what you said, Benji, and I also agree with some of the stuff you said, Deuce. Now, the three teams that I have, and I wrote this down. It might bring a question mark to some, but if you really think about it, it kind of makes sense. Now, I had the Buffalo Bills as well. I think the Bills have a need for a high end receiver to pair with Josh Allen, and McLaurin fits that profile. Um, Houston Texans, the Texans are looking for a strong receiver to complement Nico Collins, and could use McLaurin to help CJ Stroud further development. And it's one more team that I'm gonna add here, and it's kind of like a sleeper to me. But I'm gonna say, and Biz, you might like this, but I'm gonna go with the New York Jets. And the reason why I say is because, like the Raiders, the Jets aren't necessarily built to contend in 2025 as much as a successfully transition to a new culture and a brand new atmosphere. They have money to spare. However, with close to 30 million in remaining cap space, plus a relatively dire need for pass catching weapons, opposite side of Garrett Wilson, who's locked in with a deal of his own, right? A huge deal.
Mm.
But as a bonus, new quarterback Justin Fields shares an Ohio State background with McLaurin. Okay. And the Jets passing game coordinator, Scott Turner, was previously McLaurin's play caller in Washington. So there's a connection there for the Jets. And I think McLaurin could actually be a good wide receiver too. With Garrett, maybe wide receiver one, wide receiver two, Benji, however you want to put it. But just think about it. Garrett Wilson and Terry McLaurin with Justin Fields.
New York Buckeyes and Jeremy Ruckert.
Exactly. The vision is actually not a bad idea. It's really not. I can see McLaurin possibly even being a Jet compared to the Bills.
No, yeah, I agree. It would definitely be a great addition. I'd be definitely stoked for that. I know all Jets fans would be.
I mean, hey, I think all of us had, valid teams, valid reason why. But, hopefully, I just hope that, Washington can get this done. As much as I hate to like say it, Washington, Terry McLaurin deserves a contract, and Washington deserves to keep building what they already have, And our common pitch grid, he said McLaurin to the Chiefs is also a possibility. Hey, look, you never know. One day, you never know. The next day, a random trade could happen like that. I mean,
Yeah.
and we see McLaurin on the Chiefs. And hey, as much as I don't want to see Patrick Mahomes win any more rings or go to the Super Bowl because I want to see other people win. And yes, I know the Eagles just did win last year, but I don't want to give them any credit to that. Uh, I you just never know. But hey, if he is on the Chiefs, it is going to be better for McLaurin. You have a back than Jaden Daniels. As much as I hate to say it, but hey, you have a winning culture over there as well. So you really be going from another winning culture to another winning culture. But
Right.
next on our list is Shamar Stewart. After months and weeks, he finally, comes to agreement with the bill. I mean, not the Bills, the Bengals. Benji, I know you wanted to talk about this. Just your thoughts on it because I know were you the one that didn't think he was gonna get signed?
Nah, not that I didn't think he was gonna get signed. I just thought it was hilarious that, through the midst of all this, Trey Hendrickson was just down chilling in Florida the whole time. So
And he's back
but
at
he's
camp
but he's
too.
back now. Yes, but he's back now. So, that holdout has technically ended as well, but he's still not under contract. So we'll see how that unfolds. But yeah, Shamar Stewart signs a deal worth 18 million just about, and 10 million of that being guaranteed. So pretty sure he finally got what he wanted, and his part of the holdout was successful. So it's just also interesting to see, the Bengals finally doing something with this situation. And then it was also kind of weird to see that they signed Noah Fant to a contract randomly amidst this whole Trey Hendrickson fiasco that is still going on. So
Right.
hopefully something happens soon with Hendrickson, but super glad that Shamar Stewart finally got signed.
I
Michael, what
mean,
you got?
I'm just gonna say this real quick. I'm
Yeah, go
glad
ahead.
Shamar Stewart got signed, but I was always wondering what it would be like if he went back to college for another year because they were
Mm.
saying that, and I was always wondering if that would be the first time it's happened. But Michael,
You know what? I actually was afraid that he was gonna go back to Texas A&M. I think that was a school he previously played at, but I'm actually happy for the brother because honestly, I don't really understand why the holdout took so long, but at the same time, everything happens for a reason. So I think the contract that he got because he just signed a 4-year contract worth 18.97, excuse me, $1 million, including a 10.4 million signing bonus. That's huge for him because at the same time, his skill, his asset, his ability, he does have some leadership. Um, but it would have been kind of sad for the Bengals organization if he went back to college because that's that's a big blow to your team. And I really hope that with this contract that he gets, he can put some proof behind this contract because like I said, a contract is a contract. Regardless how many years, how much you get. But ain't no team finna sign a player to no $1 million contract and you ain't putting in no work. So hopefully Stewart can bring in some work and put some effort in behind his contract. I'm glad the brother got signed, but at the same time, you know, if I were you, I'll look at this, not look at it as disrespect, but what you could look at it as is be like, okay, I got signed. So now my expectations are live now because now I need to get to work and put in the work so I can back up this contract, because after 4 years is up, whether they resign you or not, that's up to you. So I feel like the 4 years is a good length of a contract for him.
Yeah, and I mean, my mind just went blank real quick. But anyways, like the Bengals defense was already tremendously bad last year. You paid most of your money went to your top three, your trio, Burrow, Higgins, and Chase. So they already left the defense kind of like left out because they barely had any money to sign any like big name prospects to go on that defense, hence why they really can't sign Trey Hendrickson right now. But they finally got Shamar Stewart, and hopefully in the meantime till they get Trey signed, he can bring that presence on the on the field. I've already seen some clips of Hendrickson coaching up Shamar Stewart on the sideline, so that's good to see the veteran rookie chemistry starting to build. But speaking of training camp, just training camp has been going on around the league. I know Benji, you were at Jets camp for the today and a few days ago, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then training camp just been going on around the league. I'm gonna just start real quick. Cowboys. I've seen some negatives, but I've seen more positives. A lot have come from newly signed acquisitions. George Pickens. I can't think of the dude from the Bills, Elam. I've heard tremendous stories of how they've been standing out in 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s. And George Pickens, he is really starting to look like that star, that wide receiver too that Dallas needed. For a few years, we got Brandon Cooks to kind of mold into that wide receiver too after Amari Cooper left, and he kind of didn't play out how we wanted. Injury bugs kind of happened, and it was kind of sad that he didn't eclipse over 1,000 yards like he did with the other previous teams. But getting George Pickens now, we have two, I think, wide receiver ones, 1A and 1B, because George Pickens is very much capable of being a wide receiver one. I think he can eclipse over 1,000 yards this year if Dak stays healthy. I think people seem to forget that when Dak is fully healthy, he was in the MVP race. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But I think if Dak can stay healthy, there should be no reason why George Pickens doesn't succeed. Also, rookie Jadon Blue, we heard reports that he was borderline lazy. Hey, it looks like his talk he's kind of proven that wrong with this talk. He's looked tremendous in the backfield. You can line him up at the slot. You can throw quick passes to him in the backfield. He's also quick in finding the A and B gaps. So amazing signing. I just hope all these rookies play out. We did have a slight scare with Tyler Guyton. We thought he had tore his I think it was ACL, but it was just it's something I can't think of off the top of my head, but he is out 4 to 6 weeks. Should be back in time for week 1, but if he can't play week 1, week 2 is perfectly fine. I would rather him wait it out fully and come back fully healthy than try to rush it back and come play Philly. But Benji, your thoughts on training camp? Because I know you're there in person.
I've seen training camp. Oh, sorry, just lagged for me. A little latency there. But yeah, NFL camp around the league so far. Pads are now on for all 32 NFL teams. And I've seen Jimmy Horn Jr. turn it up in Carolina for the Panthers, using his great cuts in the front field for the offense. And then also with quarterback Bryce Young with the Panthers, reports are coming out that he's had a very good camp, but still needs to prove things this season, as the past couple seasons have been a little bit not exactly what Panthers fans have been, I guess, expecting for this new offense here. And I'll get into the Jets more a little bit after this. But Michael, what have you seen from training camp thus far?
Sorry about that. I've actually, as far as the Saints go, the Saints held their second padded practice and training camp indoors today, focusing on various drills, including one-on-one battles, offensive line and defensive linemen. Big Bank, Kevin Banks Jr., he's tearing it up out there. He had a one-on-one battle with Chase Young, and he just completely killed it, and he's progressing, just like I thought he would. I think he's going to be a huge asset to this offensive line with Fuaga and many other guys. Trevor Penning, who's now in the left guard spot. I think that's a big big change for him. He's developed well. I haven't heard any missteps about him. Tyler Shaw, he's kind of slacked a little bit in the past couple of days. Today he threw 2 interceptions. Brandon Staley, he brought the pressure to him today, and he just could not um, keep calm under pressure. There were times he would just throw the ball away, or sometimes he hold the ball too long. He's a rookie, so it's no surprise to me. Um, my guy Spencer Rattler killed it today. He's developing more and more as the season goes along. Only the preseason is going to tell with these guys. Jake Hayner, I think he had the only touchdown pass in the 2 minute drills, despite the other quarterbacks. We did release a quarterback, Hunter Deckers. He was a Iowa State undrafted free agent. We let him go, and we brought in a kicker by the name of Kai Korager or something like that. And as far as the tight end situation, J1 Johnson was limited today, while Welch and Ridgeway were out. Kicker, my guy Blake Group, continued his strong performance, making all 5 of his kicks. So the progression is there within the organization. There are some high expectations coming up this season for us, and I think we're actually going to be a lot better than what the NFL Word thinks we are, because a lot of people have been saying today's practice was the best they've ever seen. So I honestly would say don't sleep on the New Orleans Saints, is all I'm going to say about that.
And I like how you mentioned Tyler Shaw. I to this day I still think they should have took Shador second round when they had the chance. Because I've been watching clips of him at Brown's training camp, and he's looked very impressive. He's been playing. I've seen some clips of him with the first team defense. He went 2 for 3. The first pass that he did would look it was incomplete, but you could also give some of that blame to the wide receiver during that play. But Shador has looked very incredible. So times like that just make me wish, like, I kind of wish that Shador was in black and gold, because I think if he was in New Orleans, he would have the best chance. He wouldn't. I wouldn't say all the necessary best tools around him, but he would have, better opportunity with the tools around him to succeed than he has in Cleveland right now. Because what I think Cleveland is doing, they're kind of doing him dirty by having him that low on the depth chart. But they have said that somebody is likely to get traded before the season starts. I'm hoping it's not Shador, but if it is Shador, they better trade him to a team that situation, So
And
did you
then,
just want to?
oh, sorry, go ahead, bro.
No, you can go real quick.
No, I was just gonna say, and then plus, when you have an offensive mind like Cullen Moore and his offensive fanatics and stuff like that, that would have been a big change, a big help for Shador, because you know, like I said, Shador he fits with any offensive scheme, and to this day, I really still don't understand how Shador does not fit the scheme that we have. But at the end of the day, it's just like, I think, with Cullen Moore and Shador Sanders in the Big Easy, in the state of Louisiana, in the city of New Orleans, and back in the Caesars Dome, aka the 12th man, as I like to call it, I think that would have been big for our organization. But like I said, I can't control what our front office does. I can't control what Mickey Loomis, our GM, does. They have their thoughts and how they do things. So I honestly agree with you, Deuce. And hopefully it's possible. Maybe in the future we can end up either signing him or getting a trade for him.
Yeah, and Benji, did you want to talk about your Jets training camp experience before you lead way into the next topic?
Absolutely, yes. Brees Hall had an amazing day today at One Jets Drive in Florham Park, New Jersey. little shaky, not shaky day, but I did see, Justin Fields, not be completely sharp on some of his throws, but that's okay. I rather him, work for it and progress as this off season and season comes to us very soonly. And I like a lot of what I heard and saw from the coaches today, including Aaron Glenn and defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes. Coaches really emphasized today, no walking in between drills or, transitions into other sections that they were going through. Sauce Gardner was also on one-on-ones today with Garrett Wilson. Again, I mean, those two calibers of players, to have them on opposite sides of the ball is just really good for them to just practice and go at it against each other. And Garrett Wilson had Sauce's number a few times, and Sauce, deflecting passes off of Garrett. So, iron just sharpening iron, and the defense just continued to look locked in today. So, and yeah, and also Nick Folk back in Jets green was really cool to see him being, our old kicker from the 2010s all the way up to 2016, I believe. So, uh, saw the Unks chopping it up with
Yeah.
Nick Folk and Aaron Glenn there. So, pretty cool sight to see.
But I mean, it's been a lot going on in training camp. Preseason has finally kicked off. We got the Lions and Chargers going on right now. Next week is when week 1 of preseason starts. We've had some tragic news in New York City. Benji, do you just want to, give a quick little rundown on that? Because I know that you were kind of wanting to talk about it this podcast stream.
Yeah, man. It's just really unfortunate to see the events that happened in Manhattan just a couple of days ago, especially, not necessarily especially, but, with the NFL headquarters being involved, just sending out prayers to all the family members and everybody involved in that incident. And we want to remind you here inside the locker room to check on your friends and family members' well-being and to really, take a mental health check every once in a while and seek help if you really do need it. So, we send love and all the condolences to all the families affected once again. And yeah, I just wanted to go over that really quickly.
So, but last Tuesday, we had a special joint stream with Sports Nuts, where they had a special guest, John Abraham. Make sure y'all please check out that content that we had posted. I think I had got each one of us a clip posted from our interview. Michael, yours will be up there very shortly. Your clips on that. But yes, check out that and then check out the YouTube over on the Sports Nuts YouTube. We don't have it on our YouTube just yet, but it will get on there eventually. But as of right now, just check out the clips on Instagram, YouTube. Also check out the Kobe Bryant tribute clips and video from yesterday. I know we had a lot of guests join yesterday. It was a very success. Everybody told their stories. It was emotional in the air. Hopefully we can do another tribute sometime next year.
Yeah, right in between that, y'all. Like, it's still hard to this day to talk about Kobe, and like I said, Deuce had to take me off for a second.
Mhm.
But yeah, y'all, like,
I ain't gonna. I think everybody that joined that, kind of emotional. I know through all of
yeah,
us, even Adam was emotional. It's kind of hard to when you talk about somebody that important, that big. It's kind of hard not to, But
exactly.
check out all that content. We're trying to get the views up. We are, if I remember correctly, 17 subscribers away from 100. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're a long way. We got a long way to go, but we are going to get there. But jumping into some HBCU news, and this is going to start our new college football segment. So, weekly or whenever we start recording and start posting views, make sure y'all are checking on the college football content because we will be talking about that more. But in this new special segment that is kicking off today, HBCU news, Grambling State University finished. I wrote it down. They finished 5-7 last year, and if I remember correctly, they finished 5-7. They went 2-6 in conference play. And you would have thought Grambling was going to go somewhere last year after they beat Jackson State at home. I never forget they beat them at home, and then we go to what you call it, State Fair Classic and lose to Prairie View in like 8th overtime. And ever since then, Grambling just started dropping games like flies. And I think the last game they won was against Alabama State University. But Michael, I know you're into, Grambling, the Louisiana, you're into the Louisiana sports the most. Just what does Grambling need to do, this season to get back on track? Because, last season they had a very disappointing year. And for a team with that legacy, like with the G, they got to meet those standards. And because Grambling has a winning tradition, and nobody likes to see Grambling 4-7 and 5 and, them losing records. But just your opinion on it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna basically start off with this. Grambling, has just completely gone downhill in the past previous seasons. Different head coaching changes, and it's kind of crazy. That this is not the Grambling I grew up watching. This is not the Grambling my dad grew up watching. This is not the Grambling that the older generation watched. A.G. Robinson would have been so hurt in his grave to this day. Like, what happened to this team that I built? Because let's be honest, A.G. Robinson built Grambling football. He was the face of the Grambling organization. And Grambling, like you said, dudes, Grambling has a winning history. And the fact that, these past couple of seasons, Grambling has just fallen flat. No one is looking at Grambling as a threat. No, not even Southern used to be afraid to play Grambling in the Bayou Classic. Grambling used to take over the Bayou Classic, but now in the past 3 straight seasons, Southern has won 3 straight Bayou Classics, and it's kind of sad. That's what I'm saying. Grambling needs to get to a point.
And I mean, it's also sad. It's also sad that their last winning season really was, if you want to count it, 2016.
Yeah.
That I can really remember. I don't know if I think they probably went the year or 2016, 2017. But since then, Grambling has consistently finished 3rd, 4th, and 5th in their respective division, and they've respectively fallen short in the conference almost every year. Like you said, I love how you mentioned Southern used to be scared to play Graham. Now it's just Southern uses that game as a warm-up game to go play Jackson State in the championship game.
Yeah.
And no, the Bayou Classic is supposed to be whoever wins this game, it goes to, the championship game, because Grambling and Southern they're supposed to be the best 2 teams in that conference. And really right now it's just hopefully Grambling, can take off. They brought back a lot of freshmen. They redshirted a lot of freshmen. So a lot of people are returning. Plus they brought in transfers. So they're poised to succeed. They have when you keep a coach that builds team locker room chemistry, that's also important. I preach that so much.
Yeah.
But
at the same time, this is Coach Joseph. I believe this is Coach Joseph's last chance, because it kind of reminds you back to Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson had 3 seasons to pick up Grambling and kind of be that coach, kind of like how Deion Sanders was. But at the same time, I think if Mickey Joseph does not get Grambling to where they need to be this coming season, 1, he's going to be gone. Number 2, it's going to lead to possibly Travion Scott. That's the athletic director over there at Grambling State University. I think it's time that you go after a Hall of Famer, after a Hall of Fame coach. It's got to be done. I'm looking at guys like Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, because Grambling was going to go with Ed Reed for a good minute. But despite with that Bethune-Cookman situation, Grambling was like, no, we're not going to use you. But Ed Reed was not wrong for what he said about Bethune-Cookman, because if you've seen the videos, they're probably not upgraded now. But if you've seen the videos how Bethune-Cookman was looking when Ed Reed was there, it was no good. The field house, the facility was just badly shaped. And I think Grambling, and I wrote this down, here's what Grambling full expectation need to be. Well, number 1, coaching development. This will be Coach Joseph's 2nd season at Grambling, and the team is expected to see a continued growth and refinement under his guidance. That means that the leadership is changing. Brought in new coaches. You let go of Dooley, who was the offensive coordinator. Now you're taking over the offensive play calls. So my thing is, I'm a huge offensive guy. Your offense needs to be more explosive, because we have not seen Grambling's offense be explosive in a long time, dudes. That's back from 2017. They could have won it that year, but they lost in the Celebration Bowl.
Yep.
But ever since then, Grambling just has not been able to find that, to keep on that tradition of winning. And I don't know where it fell off at, but at some point, either someone or some player is going to have to get this thing together. Like, hey, we done lost too much. We've lost every single year. And Grambling used to be packed. A.J. Robinson Stadium used to be packed, aka they call that the hole. It used to be packed. The band is still live to this day, no doubt about that. But if you kind of look at a Grambling game, the field capacity has not been the same, only because Grambling just has not found that winning culture. I honestly feel like once Grambling finds that winning culture, that winning face, that transition of change, then maybe we could see what we saw back in 2016 and 17, to where Grambling would be number one, feared in the SWAC, feared by Southern, feared by Prairie View, feared by every single team that Grambling has played over the years. Grambling would beat the mess, especially Alcorn. Grambling and Alcorn used to be, that's a rivalry too. But I think what Mickey Joseph needs to do is that you need to get these players to understand that if they are not disciplined, because there have been reports that Grambling players have not been disciplined on campus, which is kind of leading to their playing performance. Because if you can't control your players, you're not gonna be able to have a winning season. I mean, look at Dion in Colorado. He's going to control his players, and they have had winning seasons. You have to control your players. You cannot let your players outdo you. And I think that's what's going on over there at Grambling, because at the same time, yeah, they got transfers. Grambling's returning roughly 88% of their roster, significant instability and strong foundation. But at the same time, that still doesn't matter. What matters is the players that are returning. Is this a turning point for you? And is this, now you're the leaders. So the new guys that are coming in, you have to tell them that, hey, we lost such and such last year. We need you guys to help us, and we're going to help you pick up this team so we can get back to where things used to be. And I honestly feel like if Grambling can do those things, build better leadership, Mickey Joseph bring the explosiveness back to his offense, since he's the offensive coordinator now. If Grambling can just find that threat in the SWAC, I honestly feel like it won't be just Jackson State. It won't be just Florida A&M. Grambling's going to come back up. And it's possible. But at the same time, again, Mickey Joseph, this is your last chance. If you don't pick Grambling back up, Grambling's going to continue to be what they've been, not a threat to anyone in the SWAC. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I don't know if we can hear you, Deuce. I think you're muted.
Okay, yeah. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I don't know if I was just looking at it. Grambling hasn't had a winning season since 2019. But hey, you can catch us on week 1 at the Shreveport Classic against Langston University. Hopefully to see if if this can be for real. But I really think when it really matters is when we play conference play. Like I said before, they came into the Cotton Bowl State Fair Classic, played Prairie View, lost in overtime. And just went. I think that really did hurt their confidence, and went down from there. But what Michael said, I agree with everything. Mickey Joseph, this is really your last year, honestly. And I hate to say this as a Grambling student, but this could be your last year if you don't get it right, because like I said, Grambling has a winning tradition. They have not been relevant in the SWAC really in a lot of people's eyes since 2019. And even then, 2019, that was their last good season, but they still lost to Southern. It matters. You need to beat your rivals. And in college sports, if you don't know, rivalries matter. That's your job on the line as well. But jumping into our last final segment and just closing this out, MLB around the league, and it's a lot of trades going on that I cannot keep up with. But I know our co-host Adam is not on today, but you can check out his account. I know he's been posting about a lot of trades. Also, stay tuned because I believe that the what teams are playing at the Speedway? Is it
It's the
the
Braves and the Reds.
yeah, the Braves and the Reds. Check that out. I think that's really cool that teams playing inside of a Speedway. But hey, closing this out, my top 10. Uh, Adam's not here today, but I'm giving no explanation. This is my top 10. At 1, I got the Brewers. 2, I got the Dodgers. 3, Blue Jays. 4, the Cubs. 5, the Astros. 6, the Mets. 7, the Phillies. 8, the Yankees. 9, the Padres. 10, the Mariners. Honorable mention to the Reds and to the Rangers. That most likely, if they keep winning, they can probably crack the top 10 sometime near the end of the playoff. I mean, not postseason, end of the season. But hey, stay tuned because a lot of these my weekly rankings change weekly. Like I've said before, one week can be like this, the next week can be like that. So if you didn't hear your team called in the top 10 this week, hey, next week they can always crack the top 10. But as always, like, comment, subscribe on all of our socials. We are active daily. We post content daily, and then check out our personal pages. As always, it's love from inside the locker room. Y'all stay safe and y'all share our content.
Appreciate y'all. Catch y'all on the next one.
Grace and peace, y'all.